What's up, guys? It is Spider back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So, today we're going to talk about some new banners and stuff coming out, right? So, they did announce this on Twitter as well. We are getting the Todo banner and event. Of course, as we know, guys, don't summon, right? Especially with this Todo. Okay, anyways, let's go over as to why and what information as well. So, yeah, you can see on Twitter, they did post this as well with upcoming events. Which, as we can see, will be another lottery event. So, oh, my favorite. I think, to be honest, the lottery events are my least favorite. Even though they do technically give the most amount of summons, I just kind of don't like having a farm like that or whatever, right? Oh, it's just a little annoying to me personally. I forgot to swap over, my bad. But yeah, so you can see it's a lottery event. So we are going to summon, most likely, one free multi on this Todo, which kind of sucks because this Todo's whatever, but at the same time, it's not like we have a choice because the event was already done, right? So I'm assuming that's why we're getting it. But yeah, the new character, one summonable recollection bit, and one free recollection bit. Now going over to the wiki, our favorite place for this game. So Todo lands, he's a tank, and he is considered A rank, so decent, I mean, it's like not like really good options, right? Granted, if he was really, really bad, he'd probably be a little lower, right? I don't know if he was buffed, but we'll find out in a little bit, right? Yeah, not good. It's funny because Panda, who's like in the game, right, is way better than him still. Granted, Panda also needs the buffs, right? But yeah. And also looking at where those recollection bits stand, they are both taijutsu, so only physical, or only physical technique, and they are in B tier, both of them, so very mediocre, not that crazy. Now, let's see what our boy Todo does, which kind of thinks we don't have a good Todo, but we will probably get a really good Todo. I mean, you know how there's like the really cool image of like Yuji, Todo, and Mahito when there's like 3 panels of them? I'm assuming that's when we're going to get the really, really good Todo around there. Maybe we'll get another Todo when he's fighting against Hanami with Yuji. Might get another one there, but I don't know. I'm assuming it'll be more like over Mahito when when Yuji and him are fighting into Mahito. Then we'll get another one. But yeah. Let's see, is there any buffs? Oh yeah, so he did get a buff. Okay, so he did get a buff. Okay. Well, let's see what he does. Okay. Let's see. So when Black Flash is performed, it increases his own crit hit rate. So very similar to what Yuji does. Similar to that, or another character. Because I think those other characters literally do the same thing, where you do Black Flash, you get more crit hit rate to do more Black Flashes or whatever, right? Okay, so skill 1 at level 1 called All Out Straight deals 100% melee taijutsu damage to select the enemy, and if Takada's guidance state is active, so similar to previous characters, right, where they have to have like a stance or like a passive ongoing, right? Then the higher the own HP is, the greater the damage boost. So basically, if you have this buff here, this Takada buff, then you get more damage depending on how high your HP is. And then level 10, it goes up to 150, and then with the buff, now this is what we get. So at level 1 with the buff, we go to 119, so we went up by an extra 10. And then at level 10, it went from level, before the buff it was 150, but then with the buff at level 10, it goes to 180. So about like a 30% buff, not too bad. And then if you have the buff now, with the post buff to his kit, if you have the Takada buff, increases his own damage 1 time before attacking. So if you have 1 guidance, it goes to 40, 2 guidances are 60, and then 3 guidances are 80. So I'm assuming it's when you stack that buff 3 times, that's how that works, I'm assuming. And then reduces Takada's guidance state by 1 after the skill is used. So basically, if you stack up to 3, which 3 is the max, you do your skill 1, you get that extra 8% damage increase, but then it goes down to 2 guidances, basically. Okay. Doesn't seem too bad. I don't know how big this 8%, I'm assuming this is translating to 80% damage buff. So, I mean, that sounds pretty good. But it is also granted on skill 1, right? Alright, now let's see on skill 2. So, pre-buff, skill 2, at level 1. Increases own damage received by 20% for 2 turns, activates Takada's guidance state for 4 turns, so that's pretty good, and recovers own HP by 5%. Okay, so it also does a little bit of healing tips, okay. And then if you have the buff already active, the skill changes to now reduces own damage received by 12%, for 2 turns. And then you still have the same thing, but you get more healing and a bit more damage reduction basically. And it costs 25 energy. Now we raise it up to level 10. You now get, it turns into, decreases own damage received by 12% for 2 turns. Still the 4 turns on the targeted buff. And now recover 7% of your own HP. Now if you already have the buff active, now you get an additional, now you go up to 14% damage reduction. And now you go up to 10% heal basically. So that's pretty good actually. Nice 10% heal to recover yourself. Granted, it is level 10. And for playing the game, I do want to mention this real quick. It does take a little while to get characters level 10, especially like one by one. So in the long run, it's nice to see what their ceiling can do, but it also kind of takes a little while to get to that ceiling, right? To get the level 10, it takes a bit of a minute to get to level 10 on skills, right? Though it's pretty viable to get around level 6 to level 7 usually. Now with Posted Judgment, or when you get the buff version of the skill too. Now you get, let's see, so that goes, well, that's reduced. Looks like they changed some things. Okay, so this is completely different now. Okay, so now with the buff, it completely changes it, in different ways. So now you get a level 1, decreases own damage received by 10% for 2 turns. You recover your own HP by 5%, and if you have the buff active, the skill now changes to a 12% buff for 2 turns. You recover your own HP by 7%, and then the cursed energy cost is 25. And then there's another effect here. Applies to both skill effects. Activate pockets of effect 4 times and override previous state count. Increases own taijutsu damage by 40% for 2 turns. At level 10, it now goes, decreases own damage received by 12% for 2 turns. You recover your own HP by 7.7, so a very minor increase right there. And then if the buff is already active 1 time, and now it changes to 14% damage reduction, and then now 10% or 10.6% HP recovery. And then the last bit is the very same with the increased taijutsu damage by 40% for 2 turns. I mean, it's about the same. You get like a minor heal increase and then a minor damage reduction. The damage reduction is the same. Actually, yeah, it's basically the same thing. It's just a very minor buff to the damage increase, very minor. And then let's see what else. And then you also get a nice extra 40% taijutsu damage for 2 turns. So I guess that's cool. I don't quite understand why this applied to both skill effect. I'm assuming this is basically saying once you have the buff active once, you get the own taijutsu damage increase by 40% for 2 turns, and then anytime you activate it again, you keep gaining that. So basically, I'm assuming you can stack you can get up to 80% taijutsu damage for 1 turn if you were to do the skill right after, right? So yeah, very minor buff right there. It's a little decent. Basically, it makes him slightly more tanky. He's able to heal himself by a decent amount, so that's cool. And then give himself a decent damage buff. Alright, now is skill 3. So level 1 deals 240 melee taijutsu damage to select the enemy. Also, so far these are all single target, no AoE. Inflicts confusion status to unselect the enemy for 2 turns, and has 80% chance to inflict at level 1. And if you have the attack and the buff active, changes the skill effect to deals 200, so the same amount of damage. And then the higher the own HP is, the greater the damage boost, so just like skill 1. And inflicts the confusion status on the enemy by the same amount, and you recover, but now you recover own curse energy by 5%. So basically, or by 5. So basically, if you have a talkative buff active, you're able to get an extra damage boost to your attack, basically, depending on how high your HP is. And then level 10, and now it jumps up to 360, and then sadly the 80% chance is still the same. Now with the buff version of that skill, also does cost 20 curse energy. Now the buff version gets changed a bit here. So level 1, it does the same amount. Actually does a little bit less, slightly less. That's not that much. It's not that big damage, right? So level 1 is called Special Grade Curse Tool Purple Cloud. Deals 240% melee taijutsu damage to select the enemy. Inflicts confusion status on select enemy 2 turns for 8% chance, so that's the same. And then if you have the talkative buff, the skill now changes to curse energy costs 20, so now I guess it costs us. I must be still the same though. And then, but past that, increases his own damage 1 time before attacking. So if you have one guidance, 15%, 2 guidance, 20%, and then 3 guidance, 25% damage buff to self for 1 time. And the same thing like the other skill, you can only get this 3 times. And then deals 240% melee taijutsu damage to the enemy. Okay, so it's very much the same thing here. Okay, so we're getting the same thing. And then at level 10, I think I might have never said this, but level 10 now, 360 melee taijutsu damage. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. The only difference is that you're getting a slight damage buff from the base damage percentage, but then you're getting an extra damage buff depending on how much Takeda's buff you stacked up to max it 3 times. And then you recover. Actually, no. That's basically that. Basically, just get an extra damage buff depending on how many times you stacked up for or Todo's, or you stacked up Takeda's guidance. Basically, you get a 15 up to 25% chance. So I mean, that's not too bad. It seems like this is very much a character where you want to just continuously stack this up. Either do 3 stacks and then attack. Mind you, when you do 3 stacks and use one, either skill 3 or skill 2 or skill 1, you lose 1 stack, so you lose all of them. So you can kind of play that back and forth, right? So you could do something where it's like you charge up to level 3 or to stack 3, do your skill 3 or skill 1, then go back to do skill 2, so you can do 3 stacks again, and then you'll kind of rinse and repeat like that a little bit. Plus you get some cursed energy back to help out a little bit, right? So that's cool. Not too crazy, but kind of decent. I can see why he's not that great. And I can see why he's kind of a tank, because his second skill is kind of tanky, but at the same time, like I said, it's not that much, so he's not that good of a tank. And he does decent damage. Now his ultimate here, at level 1, pretty buff. He deals 500% melee taijutsu damage to select the enemy, so very much a single target nuker character. Maybe not nuker, but like single target focused character. He increases his own taijutsu damage by 20% for 4 turns, so that's pretty good. And increases his own damage by 20% for 4 turns, so that's also pretty good. And then if you have the buff active, the skill changes to deal the same amount of attack and then the same buffs, but now you cover your own HP by 10% when you do the ultimate if you have attack in the buff. Okay. And then at level 10, you deal basically 1,000 damage, and you increase your taijutsu damage by 30% instead of 20, and you increase your own damage by 30 instead of 20, and you get an extra 5% heal for now 15% heal. So pretty good, right? But now with the buff version of that, at level 1, it's called Takata's Memories, or Takatan Memories. Deals 667 melee taijutsu damage to select the enemy, so that is already better. Fill own ultimate gauge by 330, so you're able to get your ultimate look back a little bit quicker. And if you have the Takata buff active, you deal the same amount of damage, and the more guidance has, the greater the damage increases additionally up to 20%. Max increases at 4 guidances. So everything else, it's Todo, right? Yeah, Todo. Sometimes I get confused with Toji and Todo. Basically, so every other skill here, right, it can stack up to 3 times. However, with the ultimate here, you can get a nice stack up to 4 times. Because that's what it says, max stack to 4. And now you recover your own HP by 20%. And then this applies to both skill effects. If you perform a crit hit, so I'm assuming basically if you do skill 2, or skill 1 or skill 3, this applies. If you perform a crit hit, you increase your own taijutsu damage by 4 turns, and damage it by 4 turns, and the more guidances you have, the greater the damage boost. So basically, at 0 guidances, you get a 31% taijutsu and damage boost for 4 turns. But if you have 4 stacks, you get a 62% for 4 turns. And then, yeah, max stack is at 4. And then, so now that means you don't have to stick up to 4, which is nice. And it activates Takata's guidance state 3 times override previous state count. So basically, whatever skill 2 is doing, when you do the ultimate, you're able to get an immediate. So I'm assuming what this is saying is that you get an immediate 3 stacks, is what I'm assuming, because it says Takata's guidance state 3 times override previous state count. So I'm assuming what that means is that when you do the ultimate, you get an immediate 3 stacks, and then you could stack again for a 4th time. Is what I'm assuming what that's saying. And mind you, that's only level 1. At level 10, the damage now goes up to 1,200, and then that's basically everything else the same. Okay, that's also a pretty nice buff. He's able to do more damage. He's able to give him some more buffs a little bit better, or like bigger buffs, depending on how many stacks he has, and He's able to even give himself an immediate 3 stacks. That's very cool. Now his combo effect, all it does is increase his own and allies taijutsu damage by 10% for 3 turns, and then you deal 100% melee taijutsu damage to selected enemy. And then he gets an auto skill buff, 2 of them. The first one's called Zone Outburst. Increases his own critical hit rate by 20% for 3 turns when Black Flash is performed, so that's very nice. So if you ever do a Black Flash, you get an extra 20% crit rate for 3 turns, on top of getting an additional crit rate buff whenever you do a Black Flash. So very cool stuff there, so very much synergy right there. And the second one, Takeda's Chan's Guidance, Auto. At the start of battle, apply Takeda's Chan, I can't say that. Takeda Chan's Guidance state to self 2 times. So I'm assuming that either means that you have the buff stacked up 2 times, or it means buff is going to stay there for 2 turns. But I'm assuming this means you get the buff stacked up twice already at the start of a turn, which is pretty nice. So that's going to make it easier to get things going, right? To get those stacks going. So yeah, honestly, not too bad. Definitely plays a lot with his Takeda buff basically, but I can see why he's not that great because his damage isn't really that crazy. He doesn't really provide anything for the team other than focusing only on himself to help himself stay alive a bit longer. But yeah, not that crazy, very okay character. Now here's the recollection bit that you get from the event. Yeah, this is the one from the event. So it is 50-50, focus, it gives you more on taijutsu. So the skill one, when you do your ultimate, specifically ultimate, you get 40% taijutsu damage, so that's kind of nice. And then if you get 3 dupes, you get 45%. And then at 1 dupe, at the start of battle, recovers own curse energy by 10. So that's going to help out Todo be able to spam his ult, maybe not spam, but be able to get his ultimate a little bit quicker, right? So he can maybe abuse some of the buffs, so that's not too bad. Now the gacha one here, same thing, numbers are the same as well, so more taijutsu, but it is 50-50, but more like 45-20 or whatever. Basically, you get more taijutsu, you get some jujutsu. So whenever you do a skill or ultimate on skill 1, increases own taijutsu damage by 25% for 4 turns. So basically, a lower version of the event one, the free event one, but it does last for 4 turns, which is nice. And then if you get that 3 dupes, it's now 30% damage buff for taijutsu, so not too bad. About a 15% reduction, but still pretty good because it lasts for 4 turns, right? And then if you have 1 dupe, at the start of battle, decreases own damage received by 20%, which is pretty nice. And I'm assuming that's a forever buff, forever damage reduction by 20%. Not too bad. It's kind of decent. Like it wouldn't be that bad on characters that are like that want taijutsu damage, but at the same time, it is 50-50. So someone that wants taijutsu damage isn't going to fully benefit from this, since some of the damage is going to be taken away by Jujutsu. And yeah, last thing we're going to talk about here before we end the video, because it's already getting a little long here. Let's see. So we're going to talk about the events right real quick. How close are we to half anniversary? Right? Because we're right here basically. Now I did hear, supposedly we will probably be seeing Gojo very soon, like within 1 to 2 weeks from now, from what I've heard. Now take this with a grain of salt, because I don't know if it's for sure confirmed, right? We won't know for a little while. But from what I've heard, we are going to be getting half anime Gojo within about a week or 2. Is how things are kind of moving around. So, just saying, prepare for Gojo. Half anime Gojo might be coming in about a week or 2. But in terms of how much that we have left, we still have about, I think 2 events that we have still to get through. So let's see, so yeah, we're done, we're all the way done with February. March we still have like 1 or 2 things. I think we still have this Maki banner here. I think we still haven't gotten this one yet. We still have this mall event, this dead mall event with Mekamaru. So we still have 1 event here, 1 more gacha here. And then in April, which we took 1 thing here already from April with the Yuji and the Mahito. We still have we have another mall event, but we did already take this Nanami already. So all that's left is Dead Mall Edition Part 1 and Part 2 with Mekamaru and Panda. And then maybe 1 featured banner with Maki and whoever. And then we do also have this other featured banner here, and then another one here. And then Dead Mall Edition 3. So we do have 3 map events left that we have to get through, which they're all connected with each other. However, this is seemingly kind of like the JJK0 collab. You know, kind of how we had 3 things like back to back to back. So it seems kind of like that, and then there's also this Doctor's Pride banner as well. So we still have a couple featured gotchas, and then, but in total, event-wise, 3 of these events. But they could easily squeeze these in during half anniversary, or they could extend half anniversary a little bit longer. But what I did here, half anniversary is within a week or 2 from now. So just keep that in mind, guys. That you know, we're basically right at half anniversary. Half anniversary should be coming in a few weeks. From when I heard it, in about a week or 2, but at the very least, bare minimum, in a couple weeks we should be getting half anniversary. So you guys want to let you guys know about that. Got about 3 map events, 2 actual banners that matter, then a couple banners here and there that are kind of like whatever, right? They're just like not really got something on that, right? But yeah, I might make a video on the events when it does come out, just in case there's any other information other than that. But as a heads up, most likely it's just gonna be pre-multi for the Todo banner, a couple free tickets for the standard banner, and then the more generic rewards that we always get during all of these lottery events. But yeah, with that being said, though, hopefully that helps you guys out, and I'm gonna be heading out. But yeah, I'll either see you guys tomorrow for me covering the event, or later for half anniversary, or you know, any other events that come out at the end. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Hopefully this helps you guys out, and hopefully your summons do well. You know, with your summons, because I'm assuming you're just gonna do a free summon, right? Yeah, take care, guys, and peace.